Hey, welcome to Jay Shamar Space. And I kind of wanted to continue the series just in case you missed Bible study. And just remember now, just in case you missed Bible study, is not to replace Bible study. It's not to replace Bible study. It's here, should be like a 15-minute video or something to that effect. And it's here to let you get something in you while you go through the week. So just you had the kids, you couldn't make it out, you didn't have enough gas, whatever it was, right? It's something to help supplement your Bible study. So and so to that extent, to that degree, I kind of want to look at biblical fasting. And biblical fasting is just different, right? It's just different, right? There are people out there who fast, and it's fast to for nutritional reasons or whatever, or it'll be a fast to lose weight, which is usually the what's usually a fast dieting, and that's okay, that's fine, but biblical fasting is different because biblical fasting is usually a requirement to humble yourself before the true and living God, right? You want to come humbly. And so let's get into it. And I want to start at Isaiah 58:4. That says, your fasting ends in quarreling and strife and in striking each other with wicked fists. You cannot fast as you do today and expect your voice to be heard on high. And that's an example. What we're talking about there is an example of fasting done wrong, and we'll get into that. But first, let's talk about how fasting itself is done right and how we should approach fasting, and then we can go into how fasting is done wrong. All right, so let's just get into the nitty gritty from the beginning, right? Fasting is about God, not about food. It's not about food. What it is you deliberately depriving yourself and saying, God, I need something from you, and I'm willing to give something up to get it. Right? It's a plea. Right? You're asking, Lord, please give me this, and in exchange, I'm willing to clear myself out and wait for your voice. And let's not get it confused. Once again, God is not a vending machine. He's not a vending machine. Just because you put in $1.50 doesn't mean you're going to get your M&Ms or your Skittles back, right? That's not the way that works. But he does listen to earnest and sincere prayer, and he will listen to earnest and sincere prayer that is backed by giving something up as well, right? That is what you're hoping for. Those are results you can try to search for. And let's also not forget that just because you want something doesn't mean he's going to give it to you. And yes, he has the power to give it to you, but it may be a reason he's not giving it to you. So we just do not know. So we need to learn first and foremost, fasting is not about food. It's about God. You should have everything centered about him. You should understand that provision comes from him. All provision. Everything good comes from God. And so all provision comes from God. And you should understand that. And understand that your body is going to work on more than just physical nourishment. You're going to need some nourishment for your spirit. So let's move on here. So fasting is rooted in humility. You have to be humble. You have to come in and say, God, I don't know what it is I exactly need, but this is what I want. And then he may bless you with it. Fasting is connected to prayer. And this is this is the one that probably does and will get me, right? The fasting is connected to prayer. We need to do a better job about praying while we're fasting, right? We understand and we know that God knows what we need. It says it, right? He said, Jesus said, your Father knows what you need, right? But it's something to have somebody ask you for, right? not necessarily expectation of it. Just it's something to know that somebody's really asking you for that thing. They're asking your permission. There's clear in what you did, that communication to make sure that it's okay. Right? And so that's what prayer does. And examples of that were in Ezra, the 8th chapter, the 21st through 23rd verses, Nehemiah, the 1st chapter, the 4th verse, Daniel, the 9th chapter, the 3rd verse, in Acts, the 13th chapter, the 2nd through the 3rd verse. And these are times where people were praying for something or were fasting, but also they were praying along with that, waiting for that answer, right? And once again, it's just about that communication that God wants to know that you're willing to talk to him, willing to fellowship with him, willing to hear what he has to say as well, right? Because it may not be what you want it to be. And then let's look at Jesus assumed his disciples would fast. Remember, Jesus fasted. Disciples are listeners, hearers, and doers of what the person who they're discipling under. They're doing what he does. They're seeing what he sees. They're speaking what he speaks. And so since he fasted, he knew that they would fast, or they were going to have to fast. In Matthew 6 and 16 says, when you fast, it says when you fast. When you fast. Didn't say if, when you fast. He warned against hypocrisy, not fasting itself. So he was talking about, don't come there looking for this grandstand, these people up here that's going to pat you on the back for fasting, with somber faces, all that. He was saying, when you fast, though. And he was saying when you fast because he knew that he wasn't going to be long for this earth, right? He knew he wasn't going to be there that much longer. So he knew that while he was there, they didn't need to fast. They had everything they needed right there at their fingertips, right? They could ask him directly, and he would come through, right? He knew that. But a little bit later, when he's gone, that's the struggle. That's the tension, right? That's going to be when they're going to need something a little bit more. They're going to need more spiritual guidance. And in those cases, they may want to fast, right? So just talking about that again, fasting is not for public display, and that's Matthew 6, chapter 17 through 18. Do not look somber as the hypocrites do. So that's what I was talking about before, is they were saying, Jesus was saying that the Pharisees and whatnot, they were running around here with sunken faces, and they were getting the accolades of the day. Oh, you pastor. Oh, you holy. You holy. You real holy. All right. Okay, cool. You real holy. Great. But is your heart in it? Now that's the one, right? that's the true one. Because why would God bless you more? Right? Why would he give you more blessings when you've already gotten your blessings here on earth, right? You've already gotten the attaboys. You've already got the pats on the shoulder. You've already gotten all that stuff, right? So why would God then turn around and bless you more? You've already gotten everything. You've gotten what you were seeking, right? That's what it is, right? You were asking for God's provision. You were asking for God's blessing, and you eschewed that for man's blessing, man provision. So just want you to think about that. So, next time, it's different for me because every Sunday, our church, after the service, will serve breakfast, right? And so after the service, we have an 8 o'clock service. So after the service, it will serve breakfast. And then there'll be times where I don't eat. And my mom will be like, you ain't eating, you fasting? And I have to tell her, yeah, but it's not for me to it's not for a public display. It's just for me to refer information so she knows that, you know, she doesn't need to get anything. She don't need to worry about me. She just from you know, my own personal edification. So yeah. um, but it's not it's supposed to be hidden devotion, not spiritual advertising. And so I don't know about hidden, because you have to talk to your spouse. You know, I have to tell my wife, you know, I'm fasting. You know, I'm not gonna be eating this right now, and she knows how to operate after that, right? So and then I don't know if it has to necessarily be hidden, like truly hidden, but it has to be hidden enough where you're not seeking validation, not seeking anything from other people, right? And so now we're getting to where the fasting was done wrong in Isaiah 58:4. So fasting does not earn God's favor. God says, this is not the kind of fast I've chosen. That's right. 58:4. You hitting yourself, you hitting people with wicked fists and doing things against my nature, right? Fasting does not twist God's arm, doesn't force breakthroughs, it doesn't guarantee miracles. And this is where we are in Isaiah, where the people, this was post-exile, right? So this is after the Babylonians had taken over, they had taken over Israel and Judah. They had taken all those things over. And now, after a time, they are now coming back to Israel, right? And when they come back, they're expecting things to be vastly different. They're expecting a new temple, a new priest. They're expecting all these things, and it's just not coming. It's just not coming fast enough, right? And they're up there asking God, why? And God's like, man, look at you. Y'all up here acting a fool. Y'all up here acting a plain fool. And you want me to bless you? You're up here denying yourself of food, but you're denying you're denying your family, your friends. You're denying them money and stuff that help them along, right? So that was part of that, right? And that's God saying, listen, I want to help you, but first you need to do right by people. You need to do right by your folks. You need to do right by your brothers. And, you know, then I'll come and bless you. So we're getting down here to the end, and it says fasting often precedes breakthroughs or direction. And that's generally the reason you typically want to fast, right? You generally want to fast. Let's talk about why I fast, right? I fast because I want to hear from God, and I want something more clear, right? And I'm willing to give up something to get it. And if I don't get it, then I'm fine with that as well, right? Because, you know, it's just me asking. It's just like me and my father, just like my children and me. My children can ask me for stuff. Doesn't mean I'm going to give it to them, right? I may know something that they don't know, right? So that's it, right? But generally speaking, after you fast or while you're fasting, that's when the breakthroughs will come through. So we can look at Acts 13, chapter 2nd to 3rd verse. The church fasted, then the Spirit spoke. Fasting sharpens spiritual attentiveness. It quiets noise. It positions the heart to hear. It quiets noise. And that's interesting, right? You say, how does it quiet noise when your stomach is rumbling? But, you know, when you're focused on God, things get a lot quieter, right? When you're focused on, I'm not eating so I can hear from God. And when I hear from God, that's when this will be over. When you're focused on just God, like, God, talk to me, say something to me, do something for me. When you're focused on God, that's usually when you get your breakthroughs, right? That's usually when things come aligned in order for you to do something big and major, right? So I think I'll end there. Just knowing that fasting is not a guarantor of success. Just point that out there. Just like I said, like my children, like my father was to me. I could ask him for something. My children can ask me for something. Doesn't mean I'm going to say yes, right? Might be to something I know something, or my father knew something that I didn't know would put me in danger or um, hurt me in some way, right? And so it's not a guarantee of success, but if done right, if your heart is right, if your heart is right and it's in it, um, you can see some things change for you, right? So I hope that helps. If you find anything that I'm doing helpful, any point in time, please hit the like button. I love you. God bless you. I'm out.